Industry and business. Agriculture and horticulture, forestry, fisheries, energy and minerals are the main natural resources. The two which provide more than 50% of New Zealand's export earnings are agriculture and horticulture, which includes the production of sheep meat, beef, wool, dairy produce, deer, goats, and cereal products. New Zealand has developed its agriculture and manufacturing industries to suit the needs of small specialised markets. Industries such as forestry, manufacturing and tourism have become increasingly important, as have food processing, technology, telecommunications, plastics, textiles, plantation, forest products, electronics, climbing equipment and clothes. In recent years, there has also been a far greater interest in the production of lifestyle products such as yachts. Economy. The economy is heavily dependent on overseas trade. Originally, a large portion of New Zealand's exports went to the United Kingdom. The currency is the New Zealand dollar. $1 is equal to 100 cents. Energy consumption. Per head in New Zealand is 1 kilogram of coal, which is equivalent to 3,000 kg. This compares with 6,850 in Australia, 10,888 in North America, and 4,023 in Western Europe. With less than 5% of New Zealand's population being human, it means that 95% are animals, giving one of the highest ratios of humans to animals in the world. Exports. 18% of New Zealand's export earnings and 9% of New Zealand's economy are dependent on tourism. Tourism supports more than 10% of New Zealand jobs. Did you know that for each person who lives here, New Zealand produces 100 kg of butter and 65 kg of cheese each year? Australia is now New Zealand's number one export market. The United States has increased its share to become the second largest export market, followed by China, Japan, and the United Kingdom. These top four countries were most of New Zealand's imports come from. 30% of New Zealand's land has forest. Forestry accounts for 12% of New Zealand's exports. This is expected to increase as more plantations mature. Renewable energy. Currently, New Zealand generates about 10% of its electricity from volcanic heat. 55% is generated from water flowing through hydroelectric dams. Wind power accounts for less than 5% of electricity needs, although this is planned to increase significantly in the years ahead. By 2025, the plan is that 90% of New Zealand's electricity will come from renewable sources. Farming. From the early 1980s, New Zealand was home to over 70 million sheep. This number has declined to around 39 million now. This means that the often quoted statistic that New Zealand has 20 sheep for each human is wrong. Nowadays, it's only about 9 to 1. This decline hasn't stopped New Zealand from supplying 50% of all the international trade in sheep meat. One fact about New Zealand that is a relief to all Kiwis is that their sheep are free of scrappy. Scrappy is a brain disease similar to mad cow disease, BSE, that is present in sheep in many other countries. It's thought the BSE was caused by scrappy jumping the species barrier from sheep to cows. Cattle in New Zealand are free of BSE. As a precaution of the spread of VCJD, the human version of mad cow disease, people from the UK are not permitted to donate blood in New Zealand because they can carry this disease for many years in their blood without showing any symptoms. New Zealand is one of the top 5 dairy exporters in the world. The top 5 countries supply around 90% of dairy products in the international market. There are over 9 million beef and dairy cattle in New Zealand. Animals. New Zealand has some rare animals which can only be found in New Zealand, because New Zealand was the last country to be found by Europeans 150 years ago. Some are endangered species. Some of these fantastic species are the fabulous kakapo parrot. The kakapo is the world's rarest and strangest parrot. It is the only flightless and nocturnal parrot, as well as being the heaviest in the world, weighing up to 3.5 kilograms. New Zealand penguins. There is only one species, the yellow-eyed penguin, which breeds only in the southern New Zealand and neighbouring cold temperate islands. New Zealand fur seals. New Zealand has no native land mammals except for bats. Up to 2 million fur seals, however, once thronged the shores of this country and its subantarctic islands. Tuataras are reptiles. They have a primitive body structure that supports the theory that they are one of the oldest and most unevolved species, having hardly changed in the past 2 million years. More rainbow trout in the 2 to 3 kg category are caught annually in New Zealand than in the rest of the world put together. Kiwi, a rare and endangered species. This flightless bird is endangered because of introduced animals of dogs and ferrets, which crawl into the kiwi's burrow and eat the eggs. Kiwis have a long curved beak used to dig burrows for food. Kiwis are 26 centimetres long and can be up to 15 centimetres high. Kiwi's favourite food is worms, which it dug up with its beak. Kiwis are nocturnal animals, which means they come out at night.